What up everybody, and welcome to number one float trade up contract video. I haven't made one of these in a little while because the last major one that I did was of course the Dragon Law, and I felt like I massively ticked off that box. Didn't have to come back to trade ups for at least a little while, considering the amount of time, effort and money that I spent on that. But today, as you can probably tell by the title, we are back at it. This is one of my favorite AKs probably of all time. It's definitely top 5, and I would absolutely love to have created the number 1 of it. This is the current number 1, which, yes, you read correctly, is a 00001. This makes it actually insanely hard to beat. For those of you who saw the Dragon Law video, we ended up with a 00001111111. So literally, we have to beat that float in order to beat this number 1. Currently, it's up for sale for nearly 8,000 euros, and I don't think this is probably ever going to be beaten unless by me in a trade-up contract. This was, of course, dropped, not traded up to, and that's why the float is so crazy low. In fact, quest reward, nobody is crafting low float be the monsters. Nothing. None of these, not even in the top 20, have been crafted. All of these have been dropped. And the reason for that is the Overpass 2024 collection requires you to either have a very low float Dragon Snore or a very low float Orc Krakow to even attempt a number 1 be the monster. So there are actually only 2 skins in existence that you could use to even attempt to beat this number 1. One of them being this Dragon Snore, which is still kind of high float, being 4 zeros and a 3, considering we need 4 zeros and a 1 or below. Guess what? Your boy bought it. Yes, that's correct. The number 1 Dragon Snore. A lot of people probably gonna hate me for destroying number 1s, but it's potentially for a good cause. The only other skin possible that could create a new number 1 be the monster is this Orc Krakow with 4 zeros and a 3-5, very similar to the Dragon Snore that I already have number 1. In my opinion, the Orc Krakow is cooler than the Zeus Dragon Snore, and this needs to remain the number 1. I did actually craft this guy not too long ago, and it was the number 1 at the time, but since then it's been pushed down to a number 4. But of course this would be way too high float to use to create the new number 1 be the monster. So that is the reason why nobody has attempted to do this, because it's basically impossible. Only 2 skins exist that you could even do that, and thankfully I own one of them. However, we've also purchased a few of the restricted skins from the Overpass 2024 collection in an attempt to create another classified low float that we could maybe, possibly, chuck into the Be the Monster contract to increase our odds. And that contract is going to look a little something like this. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Firstly, I would like to do this contract. We have a whole bunch of low floats, a mixture of Arms Deal 2s, and Sport and Field collection. I think the best thing that would probably come out of this is actually the Cold-Blooded with 11111 float, because we could then use that in the Be the Monster contract right at the end. Let's dive into that one right now and see what we get. At 20% at the Rainbow Spoon, 20% at the Glock Axia, at 30% at the Serum, 30% at the Cold-Blooded. I'd say the worst outcome is probably the USPS Serum. That's in quite high float. We'll happily take something from the Sport and Field collection too, because then we can use that and try and go for a number 1 M4a1-S Fade. Let's count it down. 3, 2, 1. I don't even know what I won. Just not the Serum. Okay. Glock Axia, that's not too bad. And the float of that, 4 zeros and a 9, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there it is. We can definitely use this bad boy in the future. Number 1 M4a1-S Fade attempt. Let's set a little like goal on this video actually, right now. We'll say 20,000 likes, and I promise you, we'll attempt that M4a1-S Fade number 1 float using this and some others that I've saved up. Moving on, we need to do our restricted trade up. And for those of you who don't know, I'm using my site, skinsearch.com, calculate all of these trade-ups. One thing I absolutely love about my site, skinsearch.com, is the fact you can quite literally press this button right here and share your specific trade-up with your friends. I think that's an absolutely dope feature. I don't know any other sites that do that. But not just that, if you go to the inventory tab and check out your inventory and get the real world value for all of your skins, for example, Steam implemented that kind of annoying 10-day visibility on your item. So if I buy new skins, I can't just immediately load my inventory and then throw them into a trade-up calculator. However, we have implemented a workaround. So even if you've got a bunch of items that shouldn't be visible to the public, you can still load them into the skin search inventory and get the stats and the values and all of that good stuff. You come up here, you press load manually. It's a very simple 2-step process. You click this so you can get your inventory data. You copy all of this, you paste it into this box, you press update, and boom, you literally have an up-to-date inventory despite the Steam visibility 10-day stuff. Which means you can come over to the trade-up calculator and tick this little My Inventory button, and it shows all of your inventory up to date. It is beautiful. I am getting a little distracted talking about my website. There are so many cool improvements coming as well, but it's just these little things like the ability to save your contracts in tabs down here, and then you come back to the site and they're still there. It's these things that are starting to set us apart from our competitors. This is our second trade up. A lot of very expensive low float skins in here, and they give us a 40% to hit either the twin turbo or the integral. We really don't want any of these. Haven't even checked if they're going to be number ones. I highly doubt they even are going to be number one, so I don't want to check it. We also get a 20% at the AWP Krakow. If we hit this, this would be the number one AWP Krakow in the world. So I'd feel a little guilty about doing that. Same goes with this Dragon Snore. However, we're already planning on throwing the number one Dragon Snore into this contract anyway, so it wouldn't hurt, right? Wouldn't hurt to have yet another one. Then 5% at the Desert Eagle Starcade. I'm pretty sure this would be number one as well. Haven't checked. Then a 5% at this Cold-Blooded with 5 zeros and then a 2. Excellent filler material. 5% at this Little Pig. I think this would be the number one as well. And then we have a Serum with 5 zeros and a 6-6. Also great filler trade up material. We'll happily take any of these for the 60%. What we don't want to see is either of these for the 40%. Number one, Attack Vector from the graphic design. Get in there. Sweet little angels. I believe you need to get in there too. This eye samples. Crazy low float. Get in there. Here is the potentially number one world float creating contract. We want to see either Arm Steel 2 or one of these new collections, preferably Overpass 2024. I would really love this one to hit. I really, really would. Number one AWP Krakow would be absolutely dope. Another Dragon Snore to chuck into our next contract would be amazing. So, here it goes. 3, 2, 1. Overpass 2024. No! 2018 Inferno collection, of course it was. Oh, that's sad. That is very, very sad. And this is not going to be the number one as well. Let's have a quick look at what number that is. Oh, okay, it actually is the number one twin turbo. That's not too bad. It could have been worse, but it's definitely not the outcome that we were hoping for. Which leaves us with only one final scary contract remaining. So the thing about this contract is I have to use classifieds from collections that don't have just one option above, because these items are just too low float. They don't exist in those specific collections that I need to boost the odds. So I have come up with a contract that looks like this, and this will give us a 7.69% chance at the number one be the monster. It'll also give us a 7% at the number 2 Eye of Horus, I already made the number 1. I own that, and that is an 8.7 as opposed to a 9. And then we also got the M4a1-S Fade with 5 zeros and a 1. Current number 1 is 5 zeros and a 1, and then 102. This would be a 103. We can't take that risk. We cannot take that risk. We're gonna have to swap out this guy with this guy. There we go. 101. That looks better. Got to make sure I got my floats correct on this. Some crazy low float items going into this. 5-0 cold-blooded. 5-0 tooth fairy. 5-0 abyssal apparition. Some of the rarest, lowest floats in the entire game, including, of course, the number 1 Dragonstorm. This will probably be the first time you've ever seen a number 1 be the monster attempted, and it may well be the last time we ever see this as well. 7.69% at the AK-47 be the monster. New world number 1. 7.69% at the M4a1-S Fade. New world number 1. Apart from those two, so about 15%. The other 85% we don't want to see. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoy seeing me put together these crazy expensive time-consuming number 1 contracts, smash that like button. I do it to make skin history, and I do it primarily for your entertainment, so let's get this cracking. Be the monster. 7.69%. 3, 2, 1. Be the monster. Oh no. Oh no. If there was an outcome that we didn't want, it was this one. That is terrible. That is so bad. MP9 Starlight Protector 40101, and it's not even number 1. I think it's number 3. Horrendous. That is, of course, ginormous loss. But hey, at least we created one number 1 float today, right? Not even the one we were looking for. Let's smash that like goal. 20k likes, we'll attempt the number 1 M4a1-S Fade. And I believe the skins to attempt the Fade are a little bit more common, so hopefully I'll have a higher percent chance than the 7.9% we had this video. Thank you everybody so much for watching. You win some, you lose some. Tomorrow's another day. Hopefully we get that Fade if we hit the like goal, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take it easy. Peace.